Hi, welcome to the Wirral Way. My name is Gill Torres, and I am the founder of this magazine and network that connects, supports, and celebrates the communities of West Kirby, Hoylake, Heswall, and the surrounding areas in West Wirral. In these interviews, I will introduce you to members of my network. These are people in our local community that are running businesses, running charities, hosting events, and doing some other wonderful stuff so that you can meet them, get to know them, and find out how you can get involved in some of the great things that are happening in West Wirral at the moment. Hi there, welcome to the Wirral Way. My name is Gill Torres, and I am here today with Daniel Meakin, artist, fine art painter. Daniel, welcome to the Wirral Way.
Thank you.
You're sitting in your beautiful studio there. For people who are watching it on YouTube, they'll be able to see your art behind you. And you're right down on the waterfront in West Kirby, aren't you, with like a fabulous view out of your studio space there?
Yes, I love it here. I'm on the West Kirby Marina, and this is my studio from home, and I've been here for the last 2 years now. I've been relocated from Spain, from Barcelona. I've been living there for 20 years, so it's quite a contrast, but I'm loving it. It's great.
How does it compare and how does it contrast to living in Spain?
Oh, well, it is very different, that's for sure, but it's in a good way. No, it's I was there for 22 years. I went there to study, do my masters, and then ended up staying there, being a freelance artist. And fortunately, I was able to showcase my work and sell my work in Spain and throughout Europe and do exhibitions around the world. But so that was all great and wonderful. But after 20 years, it was time for a change, and family are here. And so I initially thought, well, the best thing to do is look for somewhere around the world, near to my family, and also I'm not far from the city. Being a city person, but love near being by the water, it seemed to be the perfect thing to do and come here. So gave it a go, and so far it's going very well.
Oh, fantastic. So I will backtrack a little bit. I want to ask you some stuff about, your life in art and things. But with what you said there, a question that came to me is, I wonder, does where you live inspire what you paint? Do you find that what you're painting is different now you live here than it was when you were in Spain?
Well, it is actually, yes, because when I went to Barcelona, like I said, I was studying. I went to do my masters. So, and I'm originally from near Manchester, so that was already quite a contrast when you're in your early 20s. And so I went there to study, which was going to be for 9 months, and I knew that was going to be quite a challenge and eye opener, and with my style and inspiration. So once I decided to stay there after I graduated, I realised all that history in Catalan, Spanish history was such a great influence for my work because you'll see in my work I like to do a lot of inspiration from architectural um, uh, features and so on, as well as the culture itself. So my style starts to evolve and change a lot, unconsciously, which is great. And then it evolved in different ways because I was exhibiting in different places. So those places influences me as well. And then when I came here, I realized over the last year or so, working with local artists and local private clients, I'm looking back, I see also, and I'm guessing that maybe that's been by the water that's doing it. I find that my style is slightly changing, evolving again, really. And I think it's becoming more figurative, but it's one of those things you just let it happen and see, how it goes.
How would you define your style?
A lot of the time, I don't really like to kind of put myself in the category. But when people describe my work, which I go along with, I would say abstract figurative. Some of my work you'll see online or in the studio. Some of my work can be plain abstract. So it could be geometric, using lots of shapes and bold colours. Other time, it could be figurative, but in a kind of expressive, abstract way. So with landscapes, sunsets, countryside landscapes, seascapes, a mixture of different styles, really.
Of course, we should mention that one of those seascapes is on the cover of edition one of the Wirral Way magazine, which I'm delighted by. I'm really, grateful to you for giving us. It's called The Race, is that right? That piece that's on the front of the magazine.
It is, yes. It's called The Race. It's based on the Wilson Trophy race, which is here on the marina in West Kirby. It's an annual international race, and of course, being on the marina, literally on the marina, I see the people sailing past all the time, which is great. But this being a very important race was something I couldn't miss. So that painting is one that it's a large painting as well, and it's one I really like. So yeah, I spent the whole day that afternoon during the race taking pictures, doing some sketches. I just couldn't wait to execute the painting itself. So I thought that would be ideal for the magazine.
Yeah, it's perfect. And I can see another in behind you there. I can see the other one of the view as well, looking out towards Wales.
That's right, yeah.
To most people who listen to this and watch this, should I say? So I'm interested to know, yeah, like I say, about your life in art. So it's such an achievement, I think, to have been a working artist for as long as you have and to be doing what you're doing. I think that will inspire a lot of people. So do you want to speak a little bit about your journey and yeah, kind of what the life of a working artist is like?
Sure, yes. At school, I was approaching my GCSEs, so we're talking 35 years ago now. I was always interested in drawing growing up and sketching and doodling. And I'm fortunate enough to have parents who were always encouraging me to be creative because that's what I enjoyed and I was good at. So then getting to the end of school with my GCSEs, I went into trying sculpture, drawing, illustrations, and so on. And it's doing really well, enjoying it, getting some good grades. And then towards the end of my GCSEs, like I said, like the early 90s, 35 years ago, I started to get a lot of interest from some parents and different people of my work. Consequently, I sold a few pieces, and that was before I even left school. So
That's me. That must have felt good.
So that was quite a boost, you know. And I still know a couple of those people who have these pieces from when I was like 15 years old. So going on from that, I was thinking leaving school, how can I, because really art was the only thing I really felt I was kind of good at, really, at school. But I wanted to try and progress and see how far I could go with my art rather than just do something completely different, you know. So I went to art school, art college, then art school. Then I did my bachelor's a few years later in Yorkshire, and that was in art and design. So that was so during the college years, I was experimenting with all sorts of disciplines, whether it's be fashion, graphic design, sculpture, ceramics, and so on. And realized I really enjoyed the idea. That's why I like painting and sculpture and using found objects, which I can talk about later, because I like the idea of the tactile, the physical side of things. So that's why I enjoy textiles and sculpture. And so I realized when I was going to do my bachelor's in 30 years ago, 94, and that was in Bradford, the home of Hockney. I realized I wanted to do something more like with painting and sculpture and textiles. And finally, that's what I did for 3 years, and I loved it. And that's when I started to investigate with using different fabrics and textures and, like I said, found objects and making sculptures that way, and also using painting. And so I continued doing that for the 3 years throughout my BA in Yorkshire. And then still, you know, curious and keen to do more. And while I was doing my bachelor's, I had the opportunity to travel and go to London and Paris and Barcelona. So that was really good. A good way to see how other artists work and how other artists work in different cultures, not just in Yorkshire or in the South in London. And so that kind of gave me the feeling that it'd be nice to do something a little bit different, maybe go somewhere else different, you know. And I've always enjoyed traveling, and I've always been curious about art in different cultures as well. So then after I graduated from my bachelor's, I applied to do a postgraduate master's in fine art, and I was offered a place on a European fine art, master's in European fine art, and that was with Winchester School of Art, which was affiliated with Southampton University. And that was a 9-month course in Barcelona. ending with a 3 months course, the 3 months of the course in Winchester, where you do your degree show. So that meant at 23 years old, packing my bags, going to Barcelona for 9 months on my own, not knowing anybody, not knowing the language. But it was a really great opportunity to try something new, and also, to look at, European art, really kind of contemporary art. So that was in Barcelona, and then that was a wonderful experience. You did a few exhibitions, you did a few seminars, you talk about experiences and influences that you find in Catalan art history or Spanish history. And like I said, you present a few seminars as well to the rest of the school. And that was just wonderful for me. I really enjoyed it. It's like I said, with the cultural, I call it a cultural tapestry, visual tapestry, because of all the old architecture, whether it be like medieval or Gothic architecture, and you have modernist architecture in Barcelona. It's such a varied kind of mixture of styles of architecture and all sorts of things. So visually,
yeah, it's like a work of art in itself, isn't it? The city of Barcelona. I think, yeah, it's a beautiful place.
yes, yeah.
Mm. And what about, so you talk about traveling, and I know that you've just been to Berlin as well now, and we've just seen you on your way back from there. Where do you have a favorite city to draw inspiration from, or a favorite place to paint or anything? I know you do a lot of architecture, don't you?
Yeah. Well, there's a few I can think of. Like I say, I keep saying how fortunate. Well, it is. I've been lucky to be able to do exhibitions and commissions and art fairs in America, in the US, in San Francisco and Miami, and also, like you just said, with Berlin and Barcelona and Paris and places. So, in different ways, Miami and Berlin and Barcelona, but for different reasons. Some for more because of the history, and some for more with the visuals, with the color and the light. But then also San Francisco is great because you've got such a mixture of cultures there as well. So visually, you've got so much going on. And my work, as you can see, is full of information and details and lots of visual contours and stuff going on, which is obviously what I like to do.
A freelance artist, you get to decide how you set your life up and things. So talk us through a little bit how you spend your time and what you love about what you do.
Well, I'm always on the lookout for trying new things and new ideas. And that's why, I guess, having lived in the north of England, then in Spain, and now back on the Wirral, and also traveling. I think the good thing, what I enjoy about with my art and being an artist, is being curious, always looking for new things and new ideas. I think for an artist, whatever kind of artist you are, whether it's a visual artist or a performing artist, it's always a good idea. I think it's always healthy to kind of be open to new ideas and new opportunities and things. And otherwise, if you're not enjoying it, how would somebody else enjoy it? So I just continue like that, really, and just see what happens. And my style of work as well as my painting, I feel that my work is working when I'm maybe more spontaneous. So I don't I try not to be too contrived with my work, so because that's the way I like to live as well.
Yeah, totally. And what you were saying there about kind of sort of being inspired, basically, is what I was kind of hearing from that. It makes me look at your table that you've got behind you there, and you talked about found objects and painting different things. So talk to us a little bit about that side of what you do as well. That's really cool.
Well, that's, like I said, that started initially. That started in Barcelona. There's one day a week where members of the public, anyone, can put things out in the street they don't want. And me being me, I was always, like I said, being curious and seeing what I can find. I'd go to the different areas and look for things, and I might be really fortunate, lucky. So then would start to get doors and tables and so on, treat them, clean them up, paint them, document them, photograph them, maybe exhibit them or put them online. But usually exhibit them so then people can see them face to face. And it was just really popular. And like these days, a lot of people like the idea of upcycling. I guess, like from an economical point of view, people are trying to save as well. But also I know, having seen how well this furniture or different items I find and then upcycle, how people really like these things because it's so unique and different. Nobody else has one. And also from a commercial point of view, if I'm doing an exhibition, presenting a new exhibition of work, when you have the opening, you're presenting your exhibition, you're introducing it to the public and to people. And that's a way for them to meet you as well. So for the last few years in Barcelona, and I've done it here a couple of times on the Wirral, at the openings of exhibitions, my exhibitions, I've had a couple of opportunities where I've had different bits of furniture. So this table that you mentioned was at the opening of an exhibition I had earlier in the year in Birkenhead.
Which we can see in the background there, by the way, I'll mention. That's the table that we can see that's painted there in the background, and also it's in the magazine as well. So I'll put in the notes a link to edition 1 of the magazine, and you can see a picture of it in there too.
Absolutely wonderful. And so the idea is at the opening of an exhibition, because obviously I want to meet the public, the spectators, and they want to meet the artists. I like the idea, like I said, I've done for the last couple of times, is to actually upcycle and paint the piece of furniture like that table live at the opening. So people come in, they congregate, they meet other people, they interact, which is the whole idea of this. They meet me, I meet them, they see the exhibition, and they see my working in progress as well, upcycling this table, you know. So it's getting people involved, which is the main thing. But it's a nice way for people to see how you work as well. You know?
Yeah, it's brilliant, and I love the idea of like art that can be integrated into your life as well. You know, it's one thing to hang it on the wall; it's another thing if it's a coffee table or an object of some kind. Which makes me wonder, actually, do you have a favorite object that you've painted? Anything that isn't a canvas that stands out that you found on the street in Barcelona or something?
Well, when I've painted doors that I found on the street, they've always had the hinges and the knobs still on as well. So they still are a functioning door. So sometimes I like doing the doors because, you know, like any piece of furniture, but in a house or a flat or something that's been renovated and they're throwing things away. Doors can be all sorts of sizes and styles and shapes, you know, and usually if they're discarded, might still have the hinges and knobs on, so that means they still could be used as a door. So I like that because if they're going to, because I like the idea of this upcycling, I call it "Make Me More Beautiful." It's like a renaissance, it's like a rebirth for this discarded piece of furniture that nobody wants anymore, and I'm giving it new life and making it more beautiful. And then if somebody takes this door, they might find somewhere where it would fit and use it as a door, you know? So I think doors are actually my favourites, I think, yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. I like the idea. I mean, firstly, the idea of the being able to pick stuff up in the street in Barcelona. Like that would be my dream. I'm such a like charity shop fiend. I love anything with a history to it. But like the idea of being able to have a door in your house that's like also a beautiful piece of art is so unique. So you mentioned that you do those things at the beginning, you know, when you're showcasing your work. Reminds me, tell us where you're showcasing your work coming up. I know you've got a couple of local exhibitions coming up, haven't you? Tell us about those.
Okay. Next week, I will be having an exhibition with 2 other artists at a place in Heswall. This is called Art and Design, and it's in Heswall. And like I said, it's an architect business. And the gallery that's affiliated is called the Art Design Hub. And so they have a gallery alongside the business of the architect business. And they do exhibitions a few times a year, every seasonal. And this one we're going to be 3 artists. And this, like I said, starts next week. But at the moment, I don't know the dates exactly. But if you look them up, Art and Design in Heswall and then the Art and Design Hub, you'll see it on social media. Apart from this, I like to do, in the last 2 years I've been here, I've done a few open studios and art fairs. So once again, bringing in the public, interacting with other artists as well, which I love to do on the Wirral and also in Liverpool. And this one is in It's the first weekend, the end of November, beginning of December, that weekend, and it's in Oxton. It's the Oxton Open Studios.
Of course, people might watch this video at any time, and if that's in the past, they can of course come to your beautiful studio there that we're looking at in the recording at any time, can't they? And they can find that in the magazine, which I will also link below. You'll find ways to get in touch with Daniel and go to the studio. And I was going to ask you about how people can buy your work. So of course, when you're at these when you do an open studio or something, you'll have pieces there, but people can also commission you as well, right?
Yes, like I said, I work from my home studio here. In this studio, I have my collection of works, which you can see behind me, but also my main income is through custom-made paintings. Like I said, it can be anywhere in Europe or around the world. So if people wanted to come round and look at what I've got in my collection, which people often do, and they might even want to perhaps on the spot think of one they would like me to make for them, inspired by different ideas of these paintings I've got here, then people are more than welcome to come round and look at my studio and meet me in person, and maybe even talk about something specialised for them, for their office or for their home or for whatever they want.
Yeah, fantastic. And we didn't mention, or I think I cut you off actually, though, you've also got an exhibition coming up at West Kirby Art Centre as well, haven't you?
Yeah, yes. Next year, it's recently been agreed with the West Kirby Art Centre. When I first came here 2 years ago, my first exhibition was actually at the Art Centre. And having done different things around the world in Liverpool in the last 2 years, it would be nice to go back there. And a friend of mine, she's a Ukrainian artist, and she lives locally. And as well as getting on very well, but I think our artwork complements each other. So I asked her if she would like to collaborate with me for an exhibition, which will be at the Art Centre next year, and that will be that will begin the first weekend of March, 2025. So
You want to say her name as well, by the way?
Her name Olenka. I can't pronounce her surname, but Olenka. But there'll be more details online soon. Yes. So that's at the Art Centre, and that's going to be at the beginning of March, and that will be on for 6 weeks. It's just great. It's a great location because they do events during the day, exhibitions, they do classes, and then they have gigs and concerts in the evening. It's a beautiful setting. It's an old Lutheran church converted into an art centre.
Yeah, it's a great space, and also it's good that, like, I went to a yoga nidra and sound bath in there the other night, and there was artwork up on the walls. So I think the idea of being able to go and do something lovely and then look at all that, in essentially a gallery space is perfect. We're very lucky to have that on the doorstep, and we're very lucky to have you in our local area as well. I know your work is all over the world, isn't it? So you're sending work everywhere, but we can come and see it all in person here as well, which is great. So is there anything that we haven't said that you would like to say about your work and things?
Well, the only thing to kind of repeat what I said before is, I like my work to be accessible. I like it to be, the idea of it is for me to enjoy, you to enjoy it, for us all to interact and do things together with our art as well. I'm not always the kind of artist who looks for galleries as such, because I like to do things where it's more of a community based thing as well. So that's why with art fairs and exhibitions and live painting events, I think it's nice when we artists can do that and do things like that together. But also, what I'd like to say is that's why I like working from home and inviting people to come and see my work at home, because they see my environment and how it feels here, and it's a welcoming space. It's my studio, even though it's my home, and also it's nice for people to give me feedback, tell me what they feel about my work, rather than me explaining my work to people and telling them what I'm doing and how I feel about my paintings. And that's why I like the idea of having people give me ideas for commissions as well, whether it be a small painting or 2 or 3 paintings. So all I say is just get in touch, come and meet me, talk to me about my work, come see what I'm doing.
And it's worth mentioning as well, you said paintings are different sizes. You mentioned small paintings. You have your mini Meakins, don't you, as well, that you sell at like markets and things like that. So you've got things for like all budgets and stuff as well, haven't you?
Yes, I've got some of the mini Meakins here. Mini Meakins, a friend of mine, she about 15 years ago, she came to visit. She lives in Wales, and she came to visit me in Barcelona. And her husband, who's a filmmaker, he loved my paintings, but he liked my smaller paintings most. And he kept calling them, because my surname is Meakin, he kept calling them, I like your mini Meakins. So I suddenly thought, you know what, I'm going to start calling them mini Meakins. And they've worked out really well for different reasons. Well, because I used to work in a gallery in Barcelona, and I realized working there, even though I was selling my work there as well, I realized that because it was in the center of Barcelona, obviously you're going to get a lot of passing trade with tourists as well. So they might want to spend more money on paintings or things, but practically it's easier to buy smaller works of art. I realized that my small paintings, the mini Meakins, were doing really well. And also like at Christmas and different gifts, like a little gift. It's very unique, and it's something fun. So I thought, well, I'm going to continue this idea of mini Meakins, even though initially I preferred to work larger scale. And it just ended up being really popular. So ever since, I've been making them and sending them to people at different places or putting them in markets. And I have quite a few on display at home. So sometimes if people come around to look at my work or talk to me about a project, sometimes they walk away with a mini Meakin as well. So,
yeah, that's great. And it's a nice way to be able to just buy something really unique. I love the idea that then even if they're commissioning you to do something bigger, they've got that small thing that they can walk away with to start with. So I've got a couple of quick questions I'd like to ask in closing. One of them specific to you is that, like I said at the beginning, I think it's really inspiring the way that you've set your life up and the career that you've had. So are there any tips that you would give someone who's watching this who is a young budding artist about how to have a career like yours?
You need to obviously feel confident in yourself as an artist, knowing that maybe some people might say that's not so great or you're not going to do very well. You need to obviously have some sort of confidence in yourself first of all, and with that, if you like what you do and you feel that you're good at what you do, that's even better. But to try and stick to it and make a career from it or a profession from it is always be open to opportunities that people might. You need to go out your way to perhaps go to galleries or look at places online or visit museums or whatever medium you're into. Go out your way and visit places and meet people and talk to them about ideas that you have, because there are people out there, galleries, institutes, venues, gigs, whatever, who would love your ideas, but they don't know about you. So all I say is, if you've got some confidence and you believe in what you're doing, then go out there and look online, just look at everything you can find and just show them what you're doing and take it from there, really. But it's about patience, obviously, but you just need to get out there and show people what you're doing. But also you need to obviously feel good about what you're doing. But the main thing, like I said before, is I don't like my work to be contrived. So just do what you feel is right for you with your own work, and people will see that, and they'll like it for that. So.
Yeah, I think that's brilliant advice, especially about getting out there and meeting people as well. Because I know for myself, I've had long periods of my career where I've been working as a freelance writer, and so much of it is at home on your own, and you can get into the habit, can't you, of just being very single-minded and doing what you're doing and creating what you're creating. So I think it's important to stay out and stay plugged into the world and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then the last quick questions I will ask you, I'm asking everybody who does these interviews. And the first is about where you like to spend time on the Wirral. So where do you like to be and what do you like to do locally that, other people might be interested to hear about?
Okay. Well, being on the marina, You know, I like any opportunity, like this morning, you know, walk around the marina, go along the beach, go along the coastline. Being on the Wirral, I love going along the coastline, walking around there, exploring more. Because, like I say, I've been here 2 years, but there's still lots of the Wirral I haven't seen and would like to see. But the reason why, one of the main reasons I came here is because to be near a family as well. So spending time with my family as well, but then also for myself, I like the idea of meeting more local people. And I find that there's so many other, I'm finding more and more so, there's so many other creative people in the area on the peninsula. It's great. So by going out, meeting more people locally, in local, maybe cafes or in shops or in galleries and things, I'm finding that there's so many more interesting fellow kind of creative people, writers and so on, which is great for me.
The second follow-on question from that is there anything that you would recommend to listeners? So it might be somewhere that you've eaten or something that you've eaten, something that you've bought locally, or you know, and somewhere you've shopped, anything like that.
Locally, because I'm living here in West Kirby, locally there is a small cafe, and it's called the Nuke. It's small, and it's on the corner of Banks Road here. Every Friday they do a tapas night. And coming from Barcelona, the first thing I wanted to do was check to see how kind of authentic it was. The lady who runs it, Nancy, she's used to go to Spain, different places, and experiment and take kind of research on the local cuisines and so on, and then bring it back to the Nuke. And so for every Friday they do tapas night, which we did there last weekend with some friends, and that's so worth it. It's great, you know, if you like tapas. It can be vegan, vegetarian, meat, whatever. So that's great for for getting together in groups, groups of friends, and really nice tapas. Apart from that, going back to the art centre, they do really good events. So if you want something like live music, you know, the whole assortment of music, whether it be jazz or folk, I recommend that for the music. That's it really at the moment. Yeah. So.
One very final question is, do you say in the Wirral or on the Wirral?
If it's spoken, I will say in the Wirral. If it's written, I will say on Wirral.
It's a very divisive question, that, isn't it? Yeah, well, fantastic. Thank you so much for taking the time to do this. And yeah, look forward to coming and seeing some of your exhibitions soon.